Hey everybody, I'm Hamsack, and today I wanted to talk about a new game I found called Mount Farewell. It's a little indie game that's like $10 on Steam, and it's made by a developer called EmInSpace. So I'll have the links down in the description if you want to check out the developer and check out the game. So this game is actually a 2D precision platformer.
I'm familiar with the bubble.
Hamsack.
I also dabble in precision, and if you think you can even approach it with your sad naked caveman eyeball.
Then you are correct, sir. So it's going to take a little bit more thinking when you're jumping around and moving through the levels. You actually have to kind of think ahead a little bit, and it really requires you to test your your reaction time. It's got some fun pixel art graphics, and it's built off of a really cool little concept. Lux, or Lux, I think it's Lux, but Lux, your character, is a little pink-headed person who is still grieving over the loss of their partner. And on this day, they've decided to pursue a long-time goal they and their partner once had of climbing this crazy mountain. So with the help of your grappling hook bird, you scale this treacherous mountain, which is actually pretty cool. It's a little metaphor type mountain, where you're climbing through the different stages of grief, the 5 different stages of grief. So I think that's kind of a cool little thing there. So these levels or screens, the developer I think calls them screens in the description, they're hard. In the description it kind of warns you that this game is for challenging yourself, and with the kind of the theme of the game, it makes sense for it to be that way. There are a few different obstacles in this game, mostly spikes and cliff sides, stuff like that, but even the architecture and just kind of the way the level is designed acts like an obstacle on its own. And props to the developer. I mean, these levels probably were tested so many times, and I mean, they probably had to beat their own game, so props to making such intricate levels and still being able to beat the game. As of this video, I still haven't been able to beat it yet. It's pretty hard. Oh my god, no. Even though the controls are pretty simple, they take a little bit of time to master and even understand. So your kind of abilities in this game, you have your standard, just your jump. You have some wall jumping abilities, and you can dash while midair, or on the ground too, but I mean, mostly use it in the air. And you also have your grapple bird, and they're all pretty simple things you would probably see in a lot of platformers, except for I don't know if I've really heard of a grapple bird before. So for wall jumping, the first wall that you're holding onto, you'll have 3 jumps. You'll be able to jump up 3 times, or you can jump to another wall. If you don't jump to another wall by your 3rd jump, you'll just continue to slide down the wall. If you do jump to another wall, you'll have 2 jumps on that wall. So any subsequent wall from your first wall, you'll always have 2 jumps from that wall. And then if you end up actually landing on a horizontal, like flat surface, you'll gain your ability to get your 3 jumps for your next wall again. So to use the grapple bird, you just have to aim at the little circle, the little green circles. Those are kind of your grapple points. So if you aim at those, press your grapple button, it'll launch you to them and a little bit past them. So that's the part where it was a little harder for me to understand, was the launching past the dot. So it seemed like it was based on some physics, if you're more at a horizontal angle and you launch towards it, you kind of arch down and fall down a little bit. So you wanted to make sure you had some angle to your grapple. But the thing is, I'm not exactly sure how consistent that was. It seemed to be mostly consistent. Most of the time it worked, but it seemed like there was a couple of times where I would grapple to it and it would just not take me very far. But most of the time it worked, and it really wasn't that big of a deal because the checkpoints are super close together, so it's not too big of a deal when you fall down or you die, you know. And it was kind of funny. There's some of those grapple points weren't. I didn't even use them because it just seemed more convenient to just dash instead of use the grapple, because of how much more consistent the dash was than I felt like the grapple was. So it's just something you kind of have to feel out, I guess. Whatever works for you the best is just make it to the end and you win. So okay, so your bird is red. Red, huh? Is it really red? Okay, I know, but it's more than a grapple hook. It's actually kind of a warning for you, because you only have one dash while in the air. What? After using your dash, your bird will turn blue, and that just kind of lets you know that you're screwed. Again, as soon as you land on like a horizontal, flat surface, you'll gain your dash back. Oh, thank God. So your bird will turn back to red to let you know that it's safe to use your dash again. Now, understanding how the movement and everything works is one thing, but actually using it in the game is a little bit more tricky. And sometimes some levels will take a few tries, a little bit of practice to complete, but it's supposed to be difficult. Like, grief isn't always the easiest thing to deal with, so it takes a little bit of work. And I like how that just kind of ties in with the metaphors, like difficulty, grief, it kind of works together. Now, for a few things that I noticed that could have been a little bit better, like I was saying about the bird just being a little bit either inconsistent or being kind of hard to understand the way the launching worked. It's really not too bad. It just seems a little inconsistent. This wasn't really too big of a deal because the checkpoints were short and sweet. Like, respawning was practically instant, and it took you back a few feet. It was pretty good, and felt really good to respawn. Like, not great to die, but it didn't feel so terrible, to respawn, because you're just right there and you try it again. There wasn't much else in the game that I really thought that I didn't really like, except for the dialogue wasn't the worst I'd ever seen, that's for sure. But I think it could have used some sort of like a peer review, some sort of proofread type thing, because there was a few things that the character said that didn't seem to have anything to do with anything, and just kind of seemed like they were writing it in just because they wanted to have dialogue. Anyway, what brings you to this mountain? We live at the foot of it. My partner and I used to talk about climbing the mountain. And where is your partner? I'd rather not talk about that. Interesting dialogue here, but alright. Oh, I'm sorry for asking. Anyways, I won't bother you any longer. Good luck, I'll see you around. Anyway, did you enjoy the climb so far? Hopefully it wasn't too hard, because you seem quite inexperienced. Well, thank you. I would say I'm quite inexperienced. I think that it's doable, but I probably should have thought it through before suddenly decided to climb. I think that's it for now. I'm not gonna continue quite yet. That was a lot. It didn't feel natural. It just kind of felt forced. Besides that, if you really like difficult platformer and precision platformers, then this was a great game. My favorite part about it was that each level or screen wasn't too long, but it was hard enough that accomplishing it felt really good. I mean, it felt like you actually accomplished something. You're moving through it and you're like, man, I beat that, and now on to the next one, you know? So it felt good. All right, that wraps it up for this video. So if you want to give the developers some support, check out the game. I'll have links in the description down below, so feel free to check them out. And if you have any games that you want me to try, leave them in the comments. I love trying out all these little indie games, or pretty much any games. I like giving reviews. If you like content like this and you want to see more, please leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and the little bell helps me out a bunch. And that's pretty much it. Peace out, guys. Besides that, oh wait, I already said that one. Um, but yes, difficult precision flap. You,